What's up guys, Napkin here with Graphic Pixel, and today I am very excited because I finally get to review a game that I have been waiting for since it was announced back in E3 of 2013, and that game is The Order 1886 for the PlayStation 4. There's been a lot of talk about the game's graphics and length. Should you play it? Should you buy it? Should you just say screw it? Stick around to find out. In The Order 1886, you play as Sir Knight Galahad, or Grayson, whichever you prefer to call him. You are a Knight of the Order, set during the backdrop of the late 18th century London. The Order and its knights are pretty much descendants of King Arthur's Knights of the Round Table. As a Knight of the Order, your duty is to keep the peace and protect the people of the world from the half-breeds, aka Lycans, aka werewolves. You will spend much of the game fighting a rebel uprising and unraveling the mysteries of not only the half-breeds but the Order itself. The game does an amazing job of sucking you into its world, and even though it's a more linear affair and is pretty much funneling you forward from point A to point B, you really won't care. I found myself unable to pull myself away from this world, its story, and its characters until the game's completion. What else can I say about the graphics except, wow. Ever since I was a wee little lad, I remember playing games and thinking about the day when we finally have gameplay graphics to match those amazing CG graphics that games like Resident Evil and Final Fantasy made famous. Well, my fellow gamers, rejoice, cause that day is finally upon us. Every setting in the game is filled with realistic details that will take your breath away. The characters themselves are amazing. From their hair down to the very fabrics that make up their wardrobes, these character models are some of the best ever to grace a video game. All of the small details come together to have a big impact on your experience. From your character's clothing becoming rain-soaked or bloody from combat to the destroyed objects littering the environment after a shootout. The graphics themselves have set a high bar for all games going forward, no matter what console you prefer. If this is the future of game graphics, then it's an exciting time to be a gamer, no matter where your console allegiance lies. Can I get an amen? But I digress. The world, its weapons, characters, and creatures, and also the items that you can pick up and inspect all look spectacular and need to be experienced for oneself. The game's lighting is another extreme strong point that deserves mentioning. From the reflection of the sunlight on rain puddles that adorn the ground to the lantern that lights your path in the dark London underground. The game feels confident in its graphics and it plays them up and goes above and beyond to make sure you notice. The game has a very atmospheric setting that really draws you into this world. Oh, did I mention this game has a lot of penis in it? The sound itself is also very well done. All of the weapons have unique sounds that set them apart from each other. Explosions are loud and meaty, and the sounds of the werewolves tearing through flesh sounds pretty much how you would imagine. The music, while not extremely memorable, never got in the way during my playthrough and helped set the tone for the action and cutscenes throughout the game. I was also very impressed by the voice acting for all of the characters in the game. Especially my new mustache man crush, Galahad. He's so dreamy. Move over, Solid Snake. His voice acting alone is extremely well done. Not to discredit all the other voice acting in the game, but his just stands out and really helps convey what a badass that he really is.
Everyone, one of our escapees is a half-breed. Make that more than one.
I'll cut right to the point on this one. This is a linear, third-person shooter with a heavy cinematic flair. You will travel from point A to point B, killing everything the game tells you to and throws at you along the way. You will have the choice to stray a little off the beaten path, to collect audio files, pick up and inspect items of the game world, and read newspaper notes that help flesh out the game's story. If you're expecting an open world shooter like so many other games released nowadays, you will be very disappointed. The game also takes away control at certain points to help convey its setting and scenes, and then it seamlessly tosses you back into control. It can be a bit jarring to have the game constantly take away control and then give it back to you in such an abrupt manner. I understand why it was done, I just wish it wasn't so often. With that being said, the gunplay is great. The weapons all have a unique feel, and the hit detection is weighty, and it's amazing to see your shots register with such a high impact when you're mowing down rebel scum. The cover system takes a bit getting used to, but it is competent. There's also a nice variety of weapons here, and I found them all unique and very fun to use. I do, however, wish I could choose which weapons I took into each mission with me. A few of the weapons, like the arc rifle, get very little screen time. More please. The Order 1886, however, is a very well-crafted cinematic third-person shooter that places its story, graphics, and setting on such a high pedestal that it's hard for the gameplay to reach the same heights. The quick-time events are a little overdone, but I still enjoyed having a little control over some of the scenes as opposed to just sitting there and watching.
Very well. What says the Order of Her Majesty's Royal Knights in the matter of Whitechapel? Aye or nay?
The Order 1886 is an extremely well-crafted game that accomplishes exactly what it set out to do: tell a great story with amazing graphics and great gameplay. Although the gameplay is simplistic by today's standards, that doesn't mean it's bad. I love that a game like The Order exists in today's market of 30 to 100 hour games. It's refreshing to not have to dedicate myself to a game for more than a weekend, and it makes going back to it later on down the line less painful with such an easy commitment. My total playtime of my first playthrough on the hard difficulty setting was around 10 hours. I guess a good way to look at it is, it's like the original BioShock being released in today's gaming market. It was also just a single player experience with amazing graphics for its time that helped usher in the 7th generation of gaming. That is what I feel like the Order 1886's place is. It's helping to usher in this new generation and packing that wow graphic power. While some will argue about a 10-hour game not being worth the full price, I get it. But I enjoyed my playthrough immensely and couldn't stop playing once I started, and I immediately started a second playthrough as soon as I finished my first to pay closer attention to any details or story elements I might have missed. Yes, I am disappointed there is no New Game Plus, or that there is no multiplayer of any kind. This game is dying for a cooperative horde mode of some kind. Hell, it already has the perfect setup for a competitive multiplayer with the Knights versus the Rebels. I can't fault Ready at Dawn too much though for the content they did give us. It is amazingly well crafted. Making such a beautiful game that is so much fun to play was no easy task, especially being a new IP. I am not making excuses for the game though. I can see people's concerns on length versus price. But I still find it hard not to recommend this game to anyone wanting a solid game built upon amazing graphics that work together to create an amazing experience from beginning to end. I am glad The Order 1886 is part of my growing game collection, but I know not everyone will agree. And for that reason, I am giving The Order 1886 my Play It rating. It doesn't matter if you rent it, buy it, or borrow it from a friend. You owe it to yourself to play this game. Its graphics and story alone, every gamer should experience. Until next time, napkin out.